Before we start today's episode, I want to say something to everyone listening because no matter where you are right now, maybe at home, maybe traveling, maybe taking a break, the fact that you clicked on this video shows that you're committed to improving your English, and that is something you should be really proud of.
Yes, and I want to add that learning a language is never an instant process. It's a gentle journey, and every time you listen to English, even for a few minutes, you're training your mind, building new habits, and becoming a little stronger than you were yesterday.
So before we jump into the conversation, I want you to take a moment, breathe deeply, and remind yourself that you can learn English, you are improving, and you are absolutely capable of expressing your thoughts in a new language.
And remember, you don't need to be perfect to make progress. You just need to keep showing up, just like you did today. And we're here to guide you, support you, and make learning feel calm, friendly, and enjoyable.
So thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to grow. And thank you for learning with us.
Now let's begin today's episode, and let's enjoy this journey together.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English with Lisa, where we learn English through slow, simple, and natural conversations that help you grow your confidence step by step.
We're really happy you're here today, because in this episode, we're going to talk about a topic that touches every person's daily life, meals, and we'll explore how breakfast, lunch, and dinner shape our routines, our energy, and even our emotions.
We're going to share our meal habits, the foods we enjoy, and the little moments that make eating feel comforting, meaningful, and sometimes even memorable.
And what makes this episode exciting is that it's not just about food. It's also about learning how to express your opinions, describe your daily routines, and talk about your lifestyle using natural English sentences.
Throughout the episode, we'll talk about how breakfast can set the tone for your entire day, how lunch helps you refuel in the middle of a busy afternoon, and how dinner can become a relaxing moment where people reconnect.
We'll share personal stories, cultural observations, and real-life examples that help you hear English exactly the way it's spoken in everyday conversations.
And as always, we'll explain useful vocabulary, simple expressions, and helpful phrases that you can start using right away when talking about food, routines, and your daily habits.
We'll also include a personal opinion section, a vocabulary breakdown, and a clear, friendly summary so that you can remember the most important ideas from today's discussion.
Our goal is to make this episode calm, enjoyable, and easy to follow so you can listen without feeling stressed or pressured.
And remember, every time you listen to natural English like this, you're improving your speaking, listening, and confidence more than you think.
So relax, sit back, or enjoy the episode while doing your daily activities and let this conversation help you grow.
This is English with Lisa.
And we're so excited to start today's warm, delicious conversation about meals.
Let's begin.
You know, David, breakfast is one of those meals that feels simple but has so many different meanings for people. And I always find it interesting how everyone has their own little morning routine.
That's true, Lisa, because for some people, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. But for others, it's just something small they grab before rushing out of the house.
Exactly. And I think people's breakfast habits say a lot about their lifestyle. Because if someone has a calm morning, they might enjoy cooking something warm. But if someone has a busy routine, they probably eat something quick and easy.
Right, and in my case, I'm usually in a rush, so my breakfast is very simple. And most days I just eat toast with peanut butter and drink a cup of tea.
That actually sounds nice because even though it's simple, it's warm, it's filling, and it doesn't take much time to prepare.
Yes, and sometimes if I feel a little hungry, I add a banana or an apple, because fruit in the morning makes me feel fresh.
I agree. And for me, breakfast is a bit more relaxing because I like starting my day slowly. So I usually make a bowl of oatmeal with some fruit on top.
Oatmeal is great, and it's one of those foods that gives you energy for a long time, and it also feels gentle on the stomach.
That's why I like it. And I also drink coffee in the morning, mostly because it helps me wake up and just makes me feel calm, almost like a little ritual.
I love the word ritual because breakfast really can be a small morning ritual, even when it's simple.
Exactly. And I've noticed that people all around the world have totally different breakfast traditions, and that's something I really enjoy learning about.
Same here, because in some places people eat rice and vegetables for breakfast, while in other places people eat bread, cereal, pastries, or even soup.
Yes. And I always think it's amazing that what feels like normal breakfast to one person can feel completely unusual to someone from another country.
For example, I know some people who eat leftovers from dinner as breakfast, and at first I thought it was strange, but actually it makes sense. Food is food, and if it tastes good, why not?
That's so true. And I think the idea of what breakfast should be is different for every culture, every family, and every individual.
And honestly, some people don't even like eating breakfast at all because they don't feel hungry in the morning.
Yes, and that's completely okay because the most important thing is listening to your body.
When I skip breakfast, though, I usually start feeling tired around 11 a.m., so I try not to skip it too often.
Same here, because even a small breakfast helps me stay focused and positive throughout the morning.
I think breakfast also sets the tone for the day, because when you start with something warm and comforting, your morning feels a little easier.
That's a lovely way to put it, and I feel exactly the same. Breakfast doesn't have to be fancy, but it can make the whole day feel calmer.
Speaking of fancy, on weekends I like making something bigger, like pancakes or eggs, because I finally have time to enjoy cooking.
Oh, that sounds really nice because weekend breakfasts always feel special, like a little celebration at home.
Yes, and I enjoy eating slowly on weekends without checking the time every minute.
Me too. And I think many people love weekend breakfast because they get to sit with family or friends and talk while eating.
Food tastes better when you're not rushing, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And breakfast especially feels better when you take your time.
I also notice that breakfast habits change depending on the weather or the season.
Yes, in cold weather, I want warm food, but in hot weather, I prefer fruit or something fresh.
That's me too. In summer, I often drink smoothies for breakfast because they're light and refreshing.
And in winter, I love warm oatmeal or toasts because they make me feel cozy.
It's interesting how breakfast can be simple but still bring comfort.
Yes, and I think that's why breakfast is such a nice topic for English learners, because everyone eats in the morning, so it's easy to talk about.
And it helps learners practice describing routines, food, and feelings, all in one topic.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes breakfast a beautiful everyday subject. You know, David, lunch is such an interesting meal because it usually comes right in the middle of the day when people are busy, but it still has to give them enough energy to continue everything they need to do.
That's very true, Lisa. And I think lunch feels different for everyone, depending on their job, schedule, or even the country they live in.
Yes, because in some countries, people take long lunch breaks and enjoy a full meal, while in other places, lunch is quick, simple, and sometimes even eaten at the desk.
I've definitely eaten lunch at my desk many times, especially on days when I have too much work and not enough time to sit somewhere comfortable.
I think many people can relate to that because weekdays can be so busy that lunch becomes more about convenience than enjoyment.
Exactly. And because of that, my usual lunch is something very simple, like a cheese sandwich, a bit of salad, or sometimes leftover food from the night before.
Leftovers are great because they save time and they often taste better the next day when the flavors have settled a little.
Yes, and I also like warm lunches, but I usually don't have enough time to cook during the day, so I just heat something up quickly.
That makes sense. And for me, lunch is usually a light meal too, because if I eat something too heavy, I get sleepy afterward.
Oh yes, that afternoon sleepiness is real, especially after a big meal.
Exactly. So I often choose a bowl of vegetable soup or a fresh salad with some bread, something light but satisfying.
That sounds perfect. And I think a lot of people try to eat healthier lunches these days, especially when they still have many hours of work ahead.
Yes, and I also think lunch is a good moment to pause and breathe, even if the break is short, because you can clear your mind a little.
You're right. And I sometimes notice that even a 10-minute lunch break makes my afternoon better.
Me too, because after eating something small, I feel more focused and calm, and I can continue my tasks more easily.
Do you ever eat out for lunch, Lisa? Like at restaurants or cafes?
Sometimes I do, especially when I want to treat myself or when I'm meeting a friend, because a small lunch outside feels refreshing.
That's nice. And I think eating lunch outside the house or office can feel like a little break from routine.
Exactly. Even if it's just once in a while, it makes a day feel special.
And lunch menus in restaurants are often simple and quick, so you don't have to wait long, which is great when you have limited time.
Yes, and I've noticed that in many places, lunch meals include things like rice bowls, noodles, sandwiches, soups, or small plates. Nothing too heavy, but still delicious.
I love noodle dishes for lunch because they're filling but not too heavy.
Noodles are wonderful, and salads are also popular because they are fresh and easy to eat during a busy day.
Do you think lunch is more about energy or more about enjoyment?
For me, lunch is mostly about energy, especially on work days, but I still try to enjoy the moment, even if it's quick.
I feel the same way. I want something that keeps me going, not something that makes me tired.
Exactly. And sometimes I also drink tea after lunch, just to relax a little before going back to work.
Tea after lunch is a great idea because it feels comforting and helps the body settle.
Yes, and lunch is the perfect time to reset your mind, even if it's only for a short moment.
I think that's why lunch is such an important part of the day. It divides your morning and afternoon, almost like a small pause button.
I love that description, a pause button, because that's exactly how it feels.
And I think for English learners, talking about lunch is easy because everyone eats lunch differently, so there's always something to say.
Exactly, and describing what you usually eat for lunch is a great way to practice daily routine vocabulary.
So true. And I think lunch might be simple, but it has a big effect on the rest of the day.
Definitely. And I hope our listeners feel more confident talking about their own lunch habits now. You know, David, dinner is the meal that I look forward to the most because it usually comes at the end of a long day when everything finally slows down and you can just relax and enjoy your food.
I feel the same, Lisa, because dinner is the one meal where I actually have time to sit without rushing, and I can enjoy cooking or just enjoy the moment.
Exactly. And I think many people feel the same because dinner is almost like a daily reward after finishing all the work, studies, and responsibilities.
Yes, and because it's the end of the day, I try to make dinner a little more special, even if it's simple food, just because it feels nice to treat yourself.
That's a lovely way to think about it. And I'm the same. I usually cook something warm for dinner, like rice dishes, soups, or pasta, because warm food helps me relax.
Pasta is one of my favorite dinner meals because it's easy to make and you can add vegetables, cheese, or sauce, and it always tastes comforting.
I agree. And rice dishes are also great because you can mix them with vegetables, eggs, or leftovers, and they still taste delicious.
True, and dinner is also the meal where I enjoy taking my time in the kitchen, chopping vegetables and cooking slowly, almost like a small evening ritual.
That sounds peaceful. And I think cooking can actually help people release stress, especially when they don't have to hurry.
Absolutely. And sometimes I try new recipes just to make dinner more exciting, even if it's a normal weekday.
Trying new recipes is fun, and even if the food doesn't turn out perfect, the experience still feels enjoyable.
Yes, and I think dinner feels more meaningful because it often includes family time or conversations with people you care about.
That's true, and sharing dinner with someone always makes the food taste better, even if the meal is simple.
Do you eat dinner early or late, Lisa?
It depends on the day, but I usually eat around 7 p.m. because it gives me enough time to relax before bed.
I eat a little later, usually around 8 or 8:30 p.m. because I finish work late, but I still prefer to have a warm meal before ending the day.
That makes sense, and some people even eat very late dinners depending on their culture or work schedule.
Yes, and some cultures have light dinners while others have big dinners as the main meal of the day.
Exactly, and that's what makes dinner such an interesting topic. It changes a lot from country to country.
For example, some people eat soup for dinner, some eat bread, some eat rice, and some enjoy a full plate with vegetables, meat, or fish.
Right, and dinner can be something as simple as toast or something as fancy as a full home-cooked feast.
Do you ever eat out for dinner, Lisa?
Sometimes, especially on weekends when I want a break from cooking or when I want to enjoy a nice meal with friends.
Same here, and dinner at a restaurant always feels more relaxing because someone else cooks for you.
And you don't have to wash dishes, which is sometimes the best part.
Oh yes, definitely the best part for me.
But to be honest, I still love home-cooked dinners the most because they feel cozy and comforting.
I agree, and eating at home helps me slow down, enjoy my food, and think about my day in a peaceful way.
Dinner also gives you time to talk, share stories, and connect with others, which makes it more than just a meal.
That's so true. It becomes a moment, not just food.
And even when I eat dinner alone, I still enjoy the quiet time because it feels like a soft ending to the day.
I like that idea, a soft ending, because dinner really does help close the day gently.
And for English learners, talking about dinner is easy because everyone has their own habits and routines, so it's a great topic to practice.
Yes, and describing what you eat for dinner is good practice for using adjectives, food vocabulary, and daily routine language.
I hope our listeners feel inspired to talk about their own dinner habits in English now.
Me too, because dinner is such a warm and comfortable part of life.
You know, David, snacks are such an interesting part of eating habits because even though they're small, they really help keep you going throughout the day, especially when your energy suddenly drops.
That's true, Lisa, and I think everyone has moments in the day when they feel a bit hungry and need a little something to keep them moving.
Exactly. And sometimes snacks can feel like a tiny break, almost like pressing a reset button in the middle of a busy day.
Yes, and for me, snacks are lifesavers on long work days because when my stomach starts rumbling, I can't concentrate at all.
Same here. When I get hungry, I find it really hard to focus, so I always keep a small snack in my bag, just in case.
That's a smart habit, and I should probably start doing that too because half the time I forget to bring something and then I end up buying snacks I don't really need.
I know the feeling. When you're hungry, anything looks delicious, and it's very easy to grab something unhealthy.
Exactly, and that's why I try to choose healthier snacks like nuts, fruit, or yogurt, although I won't lie, sometimes I still reach for chocolate.
Oh, I think everyone does that sometimes because a small piece of chocolate can brighten your mood, especially in the afternoon slump.
Yes, that afternoon slump is real. Around 3 p.m., I always feel a little sleepy, and a light snack gives me the push I need.
Me too, and that's when I usually eat a banana or some almonds because they're quick, easy, and they don't make me feel heavy.
Do you ever snack at night, Lisa?
Sometimes, especially on days when dinner was early or light and I feel a bit hungry before bed, but I try to keep it small, like a cup of warm milk or a piece of fruit.
That's nice, and I try not to snack too late at night because if I eat too much before bed, I don't sleep well.
Yes, same here. Late night snacking can easily become a habit, so I try to listen to my body and see if I'm actually hungry or just bored.
That's a great point because sometimes we think we're hungry, but really we just need water or a short break.
Exactly. And learning to eat mindfully is important even with snacks.
Do you have a favorite snack?
That's a tough question, but I think my favorite is yogurt with a little honey because it feels light but still satisfying.
That sounds delicious. And my favorite is probably crackers with cheese because they're simple and easy to keep in the kitchen.
Oh, that's a classic. And I think cheese and crackers are popular everywhere because they're quick and tasty.
Yes, and snacks don't always have to be fancy. Sometimes the simplest things are the best.
I agree. And snacks also depend on mood because some days you want something crunchy and other days you want something soft or sweet.
Exactly. And sometimes I just want something comforting, like warm tea with a biscuit.
Tea and biscuits make the perfect little break, especially when you're stressed.
Yes, and I think snacks are not just about food. They're also about comfort and taking care of yourself.
Well said, David. Snacks can really lift your mood if you choose the right one at the right time.
And for English learners, talking about snacks is a fun topic because everyone has different cravings and habits, so there's always something to share.
Yes, and learners can use expressions like a quick bite, a light snack, or I'm craving something to describe their snack routines.
Exactly, and describing snacks is also great vocabulary practice because there are so many textures: crunchy, soft, salty, sweet.
Right, and textures make conversations more interesting and more natural.
At the end of the day, snacks are small, but they play a big role in keeping us energized and cheerful.
Absolutely. And I think our listeners will enjoy thinking about their own snack habits after hearing this.
I hope so too, because snacks make the day a little brighter.
Personally, I feel that meals are not just about eating food, but about creating small moments in the day where you can slow down, breathe, and enjoy something comforting.
I completely agree. Because for me, meals are like little breaks that help me reset my mind and get ready for the next part of the day.
Breakfast is the meal I value the most, since it gives me a sense of stability and a strong start before I dive into work.
That's interesting because while I do enjoy breakfast, I find that dinner plays a much bigger role in helping me relax and recover from a busy schedule.
In the morning, when I eat something warm and healthy, I feel like my whole day becomes smoother and more organized.
For me, a calm dinner helps me clear my thoughts, especially when the day has been stressful or overwhelming.
I've noticed that when I skip breakfast, I feel less focused, less patient, and even a little negative throughout the day.
I can relate to that because anytime I skip a meal, I feel tired and unable to concentrate on anything properly.
I love the feeling of sitting with my breakfast and taking a few quiet minutes to myself before the day gets busy.
And I love how dinner gives me the chance to sit down, slow my pace, and enjoy my food without any rush.
Sometimes I cook something simple like oatmeal, and even that small act feels like a way of taking care of myself.
When I cook dinner, even a simple meal, it feels like I'm ending the day in a gentle and calming way.
On weekends, I enjoy treating myself to a bigger breakfast, which feels like a reward for getting through the week.
I do something similar but with dinner, like making a meal I really love to celebrate the weekend mood.
I also think meals bring people together, even if it's just a short moment shared with someone you care about.
Absolutely. Because when people eat together, the conversation naturally becomes warmer and more relaxed.
Sometimes I feel the best conversations happen when people are sharing a meal.
Yes, there's something about food that makes people open up and feel more comfortable.
For me, meals are a way to stay connected, both with myself and with others.
And I see meals as a way to slow down the fast rhythm of life, even if it's only for a short time.
I like thinking of meals as tiny celebrations that happen every day.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And I agree because even a simple meal can feel special when you enjoy it.
I think every meal has a purpose, whether it's energy, comfort, or connection.
And I believe meals help us maintain a healthy routine which supports both our body and mind.
When I eat well, I feel like I'm treating myself with kindness.
Same here, because eating good food makes me feel more grounded and more complete.
It's interesting how something so simple can influence our whole mood and rhythm.
Yes, meals may seem ordinary, but they have a big impact on how we feel throughout the day.
So, for me, meals are more than food. They're moments that shape my day.
And for me, meals are small reminders to pause and take care of myself, even in the busiest times.
I think it would really help our listeners if we go through some of the vocabulary and expressions we use today, because understanding these phrases can make their conversations sound much more natural.
Absolutely. Because when learners know how to use expressions correctly, their English becomes smoother and more confident, especially in everyday topics like meals.
One expression we used was sets the tone, which means something creates the mood or feeling for what comes next, like how breakfast sets the tone for your morning.
Yes, and learners can use it in many situations, such as saying, a good conversation sets the tone for a positive day, or a peaceful morning sets the tone for calm work.
Another useful phrase is treat myself, which means doing something nice for yourself, usually to feel happy or rewarded after a long day or week.
That's right, and learners can say things like, I treat myself with a dessert on weekends, or I treat myself to a relaxing evening after work.
We also used slow down, which means to reduce your speed or stress and take things at a more relaxed pace.
Yes, and people often say things like, I slow down during dinner, or I slow down when I'm tired, and it sounds very natural.
Another useful word is balanced, which we use to describe a meal that includes different types of nutrients so your body feels healthy and satisfied.
And a learner could say, I try to eat a balanced breakfast, or dinner feels balanced when it includes vegetables, protein, and grains.
We also mentioned skip a meal, which means not eating a meal that you usually would, sometimes because you're busy or stressed.
Students can use it like, I try not to skip lunch, or when I skip meals, I feel tired and unfocused.
Another useful phrase is take my time, which means doing something slowly and calmly without a rush.
Yes, and you might hear people say, I take my time with dinner, or I take my time in the morning so I don't feel stressed.
We also use the word snacking, which means eating small foods between meals, usually when you feel a little hungry.
Students can say, I enjoy snacking on fruit, or snacking helps me feel energetic during the day.
Another helpful word is lifestyle, which means the way someone lives, including their habits, routines, and choices.
Yes, and someone might say, my meals reflect my lifestyle, or a healthy lifestyle includes balanced meals.
We also used meaningful, which means something important, special, or full of emotional value.
For example, dinner feels meaningful because it brings people together, or breakfast is meaningful to me.
Another simple but useful word is grounded, which means feeling calm, steady, and connected to yourself. Students could say, good meals help me feel grounded, or warm food makes me feel grounded after a busy day.
All these expressions are easy to use in daily conversations, especially when talking about routines, food, or lifestyle.
And the best part is that these phrases help learners sound more natural because native speakers use them all the time in everyday conversations. Let's take a moment to summarize everything we talked about today so our learners can clearly remember the main ideas from this episode.
Yes, we began by discussing how meals, especially breakfast, can set the tone for the entire day by giving people a calm and peaceful start.
Then we talked about lunch and how different people prefer different types of lunches depending on their schedules and energy levels.
We also explained that dinner often feels like the most relaxing meal because it usually brings people together after a busy day.
We shared personal opinions about how meals are not only about eating, but also about slowing down, connecting with others, and enjoying meaningful moments.
We pointed out that food can bring comfort, provide energy, and help create memories that last for years.
Another important idea we discussed was the value of balance in eating because it keeps meals enjoyable without pressure or guilt.
We also mentioned that traveling introduces people to new meals, which helps them understand different cultures more deeply.
Then we moved on to key vocabulary and expressions that learners can use to talk about meals in a more natural and confident way.
We explained phrases like set the tone, balanced meal, take your time, and come together, all of which are useful for everyday English.
We also highlighted several words connected to emotions, such as comforting, meaningful, satisfying, and refreshing.
We talked about how meals often play an emotional role in people's lives, not just a physical one.
We reminded learners that meals can bring joy, connection, and comfort, even when the food is simple.
We also said that sharing food can help people strengthen relationships and feel more connected.
Another point we reviewed is that enjoying meals slowly can make the experience much richer and more satisfying.
We also summarized that meals play different roles. Breakfast prepares you, lunch re-energizes you, and dinner relaxes you.
We explained that having a variety of foods, including vegetables, protein, and carbs, helps create balanced meals.
We talked about how food traditions vary across cultures, but the emotional value of meals is universal.
Then we brought attention to how important it is for learners to practice talking about meals because it's such a common conversation topic.
We also pointed out that learning simple but expressive vocabulary can help them speak more naturally.
We encourage learners to think about their own meal habits and preferences because personal examples make learning more fun.
And we reminded them that speaking about meals is a great way to build confidence in English.
We ended by saying that meals are moments of joy, connection, and comfort.
And that talking about meals helps people express their daily experiences in a meaningful way.
Overall, today's episode gave learners ideas, vocabulary, and confidence.
And we hope they can use this knowledge in real conversations.
As we begin to wrap up today's episode, I want to take a moment to reflect on how deeply connected meals are to our everyday lives. Because meals are not just short breaks from work, but meaningful moments that shape our mood and energy.
Yes, and I think we covered so many hopeful ideas today, from simple breakfast routines to thoughtful dinner experiences, all of which show that meals can make our days feel more balanced and peaceful.
When we talked about breakfast earlier, it reminded how important it is to start the day with something that feels good for your body and mind, even if it's something very simple.
And I loved how we explored lunch as a moment to recharge because often people forget how much a good meal in the middle of the day can improve focus and happiness.
Dinner was a wonderful topic too because it's not just about food, but about reconnecting, slowing down, and enjoying the company of the people around you.
Yes, dinner almost feels like a soft landing at the end of a long day, giving you a chance to breathe and feel grounded.
I also feel proud that we explained so many everyday expressions that learners can use when they want to talk about meals naturally and confidently.
And I think our personal opinions helped show learners that there are no strict rules when it comes to meals. It's all about finding what feels right for your lifestyle and your happiness.
That's so true, and I hope listeners felt that our conversation was relaxed, friendly, and full of ideas they can use in real life.
Yes, because good English learning happens when the conversation feels real, not forced. And I believe this episode had that natural flow.
I also want to remind everyone that it's okay to have different habits, different preferences, and different meal traditions, because variety makes life interesting.
Absolutely. And understanding those differences helps you appreciate how people around the world think about food and daily routines.
I hope learners take a moment after this episode to think about their own meals and maybe even talk to someone about how those meals make them feel.
Yes, sharing personal stories is one of the best ways to practice speaking, and everyone has something to say when it comes to food.
So, as we wrap up, I want to say thank you to everyone who listens to English with Lisa because your support motivates us to create episodes that are meaningful and helpful.
And we truly hope that each episode helps you grow a little more confident in expressing yourself in English.
That's our wrap up for today.
And it was a warm, delicious conversation about meals.
Definitely. Let's move on to the encouragement section. Before we end today's episode, I want to take a moment to encourage all our learners because learning English takes time, patience, and daily practice. But it becomes easier when you connect it to everyday life.
Yes, and talking about meals is such a simple and comfortable topic that anyone can practice, even with very basic vocabulary. So it's a great starting point.
I want learners to remember that you don't need perfect grammar to express your thoughts. You just need the courage to start speaking.
And each day, even a small conversation, like talking about what you ate, what you enjoy, or what you want to cook, helps you become more fluent.
Learning a language is a journey, and every little sentence you speak is a step forward, even if it feels slow at times.
Yes, and learners should celebrate their progress, even the small wins, because small steps turn into big change over time.
I also want to remind everyone that mistakes are normal and natural, and they actually help you learn faster.
Absolutely. Mistakes show that you are trying, and trying is the key to improvement.
If you feel shy or nervous, start by talking to yourself or recording short voice notes about your meals or a daily routine.
And if you feel stuck, listen to simple conversations like the one in our podcast to get ideas and build your confidence.
You can even repeat lines from this episode to practice natural rhythm and pronunciation.
Yes, and practicing slowly is perfectly fine. Speaking slowly is better than not speaking at all.
I want you to believe that you can become a strong English speaker because progress happens when you keep going.
And we are here to help you through that journey, one friendly episode at a time.
So keep practicing, keep smiling, and keep learning.
And remember that English becomes easier when you enjoy the process.
You're doing great, and we're proud of you for being here.
Yes, truly, you're improving more than you think.
Let's keep growing together.
And let's keep speaking with confidence and curiosity.
And now, as we reach the end of today's episode on English with Lisa, I want to say thank you to every learner who stayed with us and enjoyed this long, warm conversation about meals.
Yes, thank you so much because your time and attention mean a lot to us, and we're happy that you chose to learn English with us today.
We hope the ideas we discussed, from talking about breakfast to understanding expressions, help you speak more naturally in your everyday conversations.
And we hope you feel encouraged to practice what you learned today, even if it's just a small conversation about what you ate or what you plan to cook.
Remember that English learning doesn't have to feel stressful. It can be gentle, calm, and enjoyable, just like today's episode.
Yes, and whenever you need friendly guidance, this podcast will always be here for you.
If you enjoyed this episode, we invite you to listen to more conversations on English with Lisa, where we talk about simple topics in a natural and learner-friendly way.
And we always make sure the language is clear, slow, and meaningful so you can follow along easily.
If you want more practice, you can replay this episode or take notes on the expressions we used.
And don't forget, the best way to improve is to keep listening and keep speaking.
We're grateful to be part of your English journey.
And we can't wait to see you again in our next episode.
Until then, keep practicing, stay cheerful, and make every greeting special. See you next time. Thank you so much for watching English with Lisa. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you won't miss our next fun and helpful English conversation.